any skill related things, right? Even from a materialistic perspective. When we have some knowledge, then our confidence in our own life increases. Our confidence in our own approach to the life increases tremendously. And when we are not aware of the concepts, we feel a little bit less confident, much less confident. So always, we may not be really very strong shastrically from a scriptural reference and like that, but then at least the concept-wise, we need to have a clear understanding from how Bhagavatam understands this, how Bhagavatam relates to this whole thing. So from that perspective, I saw that many of you, when you are referring to your own thoughts or some verses, etc., you had a nice idea about it. But there is some things which I thought in the WhatsApp text messages, it can only be shared that much, so much. We cannot put complete thing in a very clear thing. Right? So when we discuss, it becomes even more clear. And then, of course, through recordings and all, we can always share the whole thing to devotees and in our group, etc. Then it will be very helpful. So, and also I saw Antarayami Prabhu sharing some verses. So we'll have to understand the verses also. And from the verse point of view also, we have to see how they are all settled together, like how time is influencing the karma and destiny, how destiny is formed, where it is originating, then what happens to the karma, can we change it? These are all the questions that we have. Time we cannot change. Time is going to be fixed as such because it is Krishna himself. So the other two parts is destiny and karma, right? So we'll have to see this whole thing. But let's go along this way. And you also please refer to me anything that which we need to refer to or any other connections. Feel free to be as interactive as we are always. So we were going through first and the sixth chapter. I think we were in what we were in. Mother passed away. He was passing through the jungles and all these places, and then he had this. Was feeling tired. He took. He was by the river and he drank some water. Hmm? And then he meditated based on what he was going through. But then we did not go there. But let's read the verses. If somebody can share the screen, it will be good. 1:6. 1:6:5 onwards. 1:6:5 onwards. Let's read the translation and let's see. For 5-6 verses, let's read the translations and then you'll see where we are. So let's read the first 1:6:5. Narada Vacha. Narada Vacha Bhikshuvir-vipravasite Vijnanadesh-mama Vartamano Vayasyadye Tataye Tatakarasham. Sri Narada said, the great sages who had imparted scientific knowledge of transcendence to me departed for other places, and I had to pass my life in this way. Right? Translation is I have to scroll up. Please share the screen.
Prabhuji, I am sharing the screen.
Okay, you are sharing. Okay. Now, so let's go to the next verse. Who want to read the next verse? Verse number 6. Ekatmajame. So let me read. Ekatmajame janani yoshin mudha cha kinkari mayyatmajayan yagatau chakre sneghanubandhanam. Who wants to read the translation?
Can I read?
Krishna Prabhu?
Yes. Vijay Sarvadamataji, yeah, you can read, Martha.
Yes, Prabhu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. I was the only son of my mother, who was not only a simple woman but a maidservant as well. Since I was her only offspring, she had no other alternative for protection. She bound me with a tie of affection. So there is no purport for this.
For this, for a few verses to not be there. Uh, I was her only offspring and she had no other alternative for protection. We read this thing already. Next one. Sastra Tantran Alpasi Yogakshevam Mechati Ishasya Hivashe Loko Yosha Darumayatha.
She wanted to look after my maintenance properly, but because she was not independent, she was not able to do anything for me. The world is under the full control of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, everyone is like a wooden doll in the hands of a puppet master.
So this is a very, very important verse. That's why I was trying to highlight that we will read this. This particular verse, Bhagavatam insists that there is no independence at all for his mother, right? And she was not able to do anything for me. And is telling the world is under the full control of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, everyone is like a wooden doll in the hands of the puppet master. Now, if you remember when we were discussing this verse, we were specifically highlighting these two lines, and Maharaj said the whole Bhagavatam. I think I referred to Maharaj's words. Ishasya hi vashe loko yosha dharme yatha. These two lines encapsulate the entire message of Bhagavatam for us, right? Next verse. So the next one is Aham cha tad brahma kule ushivastad upekshaya digdesha kala vyutpanno balaka panchahayanaha.
When I was a mere child of 5 years, I lived in a Brahmana school. I was dependent on my mother's affection and had no experience of different lands.
So now here again, Narada is not only telling that his mother is dependent, now he is also dependent, he is telling, right? We had no other options available. So he is also within that control of the, dependent on mother's affection. And he's also saying, I also don't have any control. Now, this not having any control can be seen in two different ways. We will come to that much later. Let's proceed here. Ekada nirgatam keha duhantim nishigam pathi sarpo dashat padas prishtaha kripanam kala choditaha.
Once upon a time, my poor mother, when going out one night to milk a cow, was bitten on the leg by a serpent, influenced by supreme time.
Now, Prabhupada writes in the purport, please read that.
That is the way of dragging a sincere soul nearer to God. The poor boy was being looked after only by his affectionate mother, and yet the mother was taken from the world by the supreme will in order to put him completely at the mercy of the Lord.
Now, this is very interesting. Sapna Mataji said, I think in that message, that Narada Muni was controlled by destiny, and Pandavas were, what is it, Mataji? I remember that. Let me get back to that.
After Mataji gave me the understanding, I had replied that Narad Muni was controlled by destiny and Pandavas were controlled by Kal.
So this understanding also needs to be done with proper analysis, right? Let me go through that section. I start that side also. But your question was the best question, Madhaj, because that really triggered a good discussion point here. I think Preeti Radha also mentioned very nicely. Krishna said, "Kalos me, I am devouring all devouring time, but destiny is not so. Kal treats everyone equally, but everyone's destiny is different. One can have some control over destiny by controlling the actions in present, but no one can have any control over Kal." These beautiful 3 points that she had referred to, mentioned. I really like the way she uh, encapsulated the whole message and can capture the whole thing, right? So now, I think Swapna Mataji said, Narada Muni was destined to lose his mother. Pandavas suffered due to the wish of the Lord. So it is time, it is Kal. Now, uh, destined to suffer due to the wish of the Lord. Uh, was it suffering? Really? That's something which we need to understand. You get me?
Suffering from our
Yes.
perspective, I believe.
Yes, yes. So,
But
for
Prabhuji, it
pure
was suffering
devotees,
for Draupadi.
sorry, Vijay Mataji, sorry.
It was suffering only, no, for Draupadi.
At that moment, maybe yes, but then he came out of it very soon. The suffering is a suffering if it keeps dragging us again and again to the material modes and make us forget Krishna, make us lose faith in Krishna. That is a real suffering. There are multiple ways to look at it, Mataji. One is from a karmic perspective, one is from a devotee perspective, right? Spiritual perspective, other is from a material perspective. Which way you want to see is what determines. We can see both sides. Spiritual is will be able to see the how the karmis see also. Karmis cannot see the way spiritualists see. Understand?
Yes.
So something is a suffering. Something that looks like a suffering for the karmis may not be actually suffering for the devotees themselves. You can see that say Vasudeva and Devaki were suffering in the prison, but that is from our perspective. But they were not. They were the moment they heard that the Lord will become their child, then they have no suffering. The only thing that they will feel the suffering they will have is this when they feel the suffering of others. But that suffering also is not like the karmic suffering. That suffering is like is at a higher level because they are experiencing the suffering of others due to their extreme compassion. You understand? So suppose somebody who is not even related to them is going through some pain. They are like more from materialistic, they'll be going through the pain. But the devotees will experience it. And suppose they lose their something very dear to them, whatever. Right? So that losing, I mean, what they are something dear to them that they are losing, these devotees who are feeling their pain, they will also feel it. Karmis also will do to a certain extent, but it's only within their limited circle. Do you understand? Like those who are very closely related to them or very dear to them, their feelings they will understand. They will experience to a certain extent that too, not fully. To the extent it affects them, to that extent they will experience. To the extent that person is related to them for fulfilling their enjoyment, to that extent they will feel it. But devotees will experience the pain of even those who are not related to them. That is a speciality of devotees. They may not even, those who are not even connected with them or don't even care whether this person feels my pain or not. For such people, think he will, they will also, so also they will experience it. Repeat me what?
Sort of, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, very nicely you add one point, a first point that was really touching Prabhu. The real suffering is basically going away from Krishna.
Yeah.
That is actual real suffering.
Yes. And that
Very nice.
suffering is not tangibly experienced by those who are under the modes. Whereas devotees experience the suffering of being away from Krishna in different ways. Like, say, suppose we are regularly going to a temple for programs, we may get used to it. But suddenly we are thrown into a place like Saudi Arabia or somewhere in the desert in Australia or maybe somewhere in America where no people are around. There won't be anybody to talk to. I would not now forget about Krishna. You can't even see anybody there, devotees there. If you have such kind of experience, then we will understand what it is like being with the devotee association, right? So that suffering, whether Draupadi suffered or not, yes, she did suffer that momentary thing, but that suffering is not from a personal, it's not like sense gratificatory suffering. It is a devotee suffering. Basically, what is a devotee suffering means? Devotee suffering means I am not able to serve the Lord properly. How can we serve the Lord properly if we are losing this thing and we are losing everything? Now, if we become servant of Duryodhana, and Duryodhana wants us to stop all this, your faith in Krishna and this and that, everything related to Krishna, everything related to the devotions, then that is the biggest pain for them, correct? For them, right from the beginning, they had no attachment to the place, position, and all that, if you see. Yudhishthira Maharaj was willing to leave the palace, even though he was most qualified. He won the test also. In spite of that, because of Duryodhana's adamancy, he had to give up and go away and start something fresh, Indraprastha, correct? And when Indraprastha was to be given also, he just gave up and left. So for them, it's not the losing of material things that is a suffering. It is the fear of losing Krishna's seva, service to Krishna, service in devotion, in devotion. That is the biggest, losing the service is the biggest fear for them. Does it help? First to begin with. So there are different ways to see. One is karmic perspective of suffering and devotee's perspective of suffering. When we have to approach things from all sides. So let's move on. These shlokas, see, these are some of the shlokas which I want you to keep in mind, because we'll come back and refer to them again and again. These 4 or 5 verses which you read just now. Actually, at the we have one more verse in this, I think, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, the 10th verse. Let's see the 10th verse. Yes, okay, go ahead.
Tada tad ahamishasya bhaktanam sam abhipsata anugraham manyamana pratishtham disham uttaram. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I took this as the special mercy of the Lord, who always desires benediction for his devotees, and so thinking, I started for the north. Confidential devotees of the Lord see in every step a benefactory direction of the Lord.
Benedictory is direction.
Sorry, benedictory direction of the Lord.
What is see, this is the point that is going to be discussed here in this next few lines. That's what we discussed till now. You please read it. Hear it carefully. Yes.
Okay, Prabhuji. What is considered to be an odd or difficult moment in the mundane sense is accepted as special mercy of the Lord. Mundane prosperity is a kind of material fever, and by the grace of the Lord, the temperature of this material fever is gradually diminished, and spiritual health is obtained step by step. Mundane people misunderstand it.
And then do misunderstand. Now you understood Vijayavasavata Mataji. What is
Yes,
clearly here? We are saying that Draupadi was actually suffering the pain. But if you see, Krishna came to help her. For how many people Krishna is supplying those saris? Param Puja Maharashtra Maharaj used to say that in a joking way, that if you want Krishna to supply unlimited saris to you, you should also be wearing saris always. Then he will send you the saris. It's a very interesting thing he would say. Yes. How many services? In Nasimata speaks that Draupadi no avyu tano ina sadi navaso navano. Navaso navano means 999. I don't know where he got that number, Nasimata, but he says that nice pastime. Like when Sudarshan Chakra, Krishna was doing a Sudarshan Chakra, to kill Shishupala in that Indraprastha. So he was shouting all blaspheming and everything and all that. So Krishna waited for some time and then decided, okay, time to finish this guy. And so he leaves the Sudarshan Chakra. It goes perfectly, does his job, and it comes back. So coming back, Krishna, it did not sit in Krishna's finger properly. So it's a little bit, there's a cut, and blood started coming in Krishna's finger. So everybody was, all the other, Maharaj used to say, all other queens of Krishna were there, Satyabhama, everybody was there. But they were looking at the sari, oh no, new sari, how can I take the tear it off? There is nothing. But Draupadi, who is having she's the queen, Pattabhishekam is being done. But without thinking twice, she just tore off some part of the sari and she tied it to Krishna immediately. So Krishna said, I remember, Draupadi, Avyutano means that she was binding, she was, tying the injury of Krishna's finger. So for that small help that she did, Krishna gave 999 saris in return. Right? So how much more? And that too, it was all just coming and this guy Duryodhana was not able to do anything. The interesting thing is, we think that Duryodhana was, Dushasan. You think that this Duryodhana, Dushasan, Karna were all doing all insults and everything fine. But at the end of the day, they couldn't achieve their objective. They couldn't do anything to achieve their objective. They could neither make these Pandavas the Pandavas as their slaves, nor they could disrobe Draupadi, and they were sent out to the forest, where they lived even more happily. So this is something which is actually victory for the Pandavas, because they could see, for Yudhishthira Maharaj, it was and for others, it was a very nice outing. For 1 year, they were just gone on a vacation. Imagine, we are thinking that these positions and all are very powerful positions are there. They can be happy. But honestly speaking, if you are like a temple president or some very important post, they can't take 1 day off and go and enjoy. They may go to Mayapur and Vrindavan so frequently, but they cannot go out of the meeting room. They'll be always in conference rooms. You can't go out and spend some time, enjoying the place, and they can't have any. You can't have any free time at all. Even these people like this Narayan Murthy, and I saw him recently in the Pune office. He had come, and he was always surrounded by people that 78 years, 70 years old, and people all are coming and taking selfie, coming and taking notes, and everything. He's not left even one moment free. And he used to come from the airport to the office, and in his room, again come out, go back, finished. That's all. Where do we have the freedom at all? So it all depends on your perception, whether you are suffering or whether you're enjoying or whether you are. That's why this line is very important. Sincere devotees of the Lord, confidential devotees of the Lord. See in every step a benedictory direction of the Lord. Very important point to note. When they are really confidential, they will say, no, 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 I am, it's such a nice thing that happened in my life. So perception is different. The others, outsiders who don't have that connection with Krishna, they see some certain things as suffering, certain things as enjoyment. They see someone suffering as a better option for enjoyment, and someone enjoyment as suffering. Someone may be very much enjoying the fresh air, a nice farm, nice thing, etc. But someone, that person's, he will be enjoying. But the other person who is seeing him, poor guy, he doesn't even have a nice 2 BHK, 3 BHK in the middle of the Bombay. He's living in such a corner, such a remote corner. But in the end, he lives in a Chidiyaghar. Maharaj used to say these flats as Chidiyaghar, pigeon house. It's just 2 BHK, 3 BHK. That too, so congested and in the Bombay traffic, and you have to go and come. And that person for vacation, he will be going to say some farmland somewhere and then come back. Recently, we also went from Pune to Vela farm, isn't it? Our Suresh Prabhu, hankers to go there every time. He's there, I think. Yeah, so Swapna Mataji, you all were there too. We went there, isn't it? And then the Hyderabad also, we went to a farm, and devotees are so happy to be in that farm one day. So who is actually suffering, who is actually enjoying? That we don't really understand. Those in Mumbai, they go to some farm out completely 2-3 hours away from the city. This is first of all something which you should fix. So, and secondly, a karmic person's understanding of suffering and enjoyment is very, very transitory, and it is not true also. Because a karmi or a materialist world itself is a false world. It's a dream world, isn't it? He's suffering within that dream, or he's enjoying within that dream. So how can his suffering or enjoyment can be considered as a tangible reference of a suffering or enjoyment? Momentary suffering and enjoyment, how can those be considered as tangible ones? He is suffering, he is enjoying, but inside a dream. Correct? I am suffering in the dream. When I wake up, I don't even mind it. So it is true that he went through that experience, but that experience itself is based on false understanding and false things. So that is going to be that. Saplamata, you raised your hand. Sorry.
Yes, Prabhuji, I remembered one point from Radhesham Prabhuji's class. I just wanted to share that. In the class, he had told that some devotees, they do devotional service for some times and then they leave, and then they come back. So in that period also, they are in Krishna's mercy, that sometimes what happens, there is some Vaishnava aparat they are causing, and they shouldn't do more Vaishnava aparat. So Krishna temporarily keeps them away from the devotees, and after some time he brings them back. So that is also Krishna's mercy, Radhesham Prabhuji told in the class.
This point is very important. We have to come to that. Please hold on to this point and refer to it once again. Krishna doing something, it's a benedictory thing, no? There are some special references for that. Nice point you brought up. Krishna is doing these things, right? So that is also very important. And Krishna is doing it or someone else is doing it, that is also again a perception. According to the level of our consciousness, we will see who is doing it. You get me?
Yes,
right? Now you say, for example, that Pandavas thing, you said time, it's a time. But as we elevate our consciousness even more, we'll see that Krishna is only making time do that. As Vishnudeva rightly points out. The powerful influence of the time shows a inexplicable wish of the Lord. Inexplicable. You cannot explain what the Lord is wishing, but He is wishing something, and He is executing those wishes through that is His own expansion in the form of time, right? And He doesn't do the same thing with our karma. Our karma is our own product, how we are creating it ourselves. That is our thing. So, but then He sets a rule that is karma. As per the influence and the intensity of that karma, you will get the result in so and so time. Like that. That rule is laid out. So a rule will automatically will take over. If I do some karma, how that karma is affecting me, or even some people are doing something bad, they are getting good results, but some people are doing good, but they are getting bad results. How to understand this? That is also a beautiful point. Will come there. You would have understand. Some of you would have understood, but some nice examples are given.
Yes,
Okay,
Prabhuji.
so one by one we'll go. Now, these three are very closely connected together. There is one more thing that is added to this, which we did not discuss in that conversation, is guna, the three modes of material nature, prakriti. The trigunya, the three guna of prakriti is there, no? That also plays a part here. But which is actuating it? You know what is actuating means inducing. What are all the things that induce us? What are all the things that acts us? What is the engine? Which is the engine? Which is the bogie? Right? Those are the things which we need to understand properly. And that understanding settles according to our different consciousness. Those who are at the highest consciousness, like the saints and sadhus, they will see that everything is actually happening as a result of Krishna. They will see Krishna's hand in everything. But those who are still trying to figure out, they will see that, oh, my karma is having some power, my destiny is having some power, Kala is having some power, etc. In what? Power to influence what? That again we should see. For the devotees, because they are always in consciousness of serving Krishna, for them even some material things come and affect. For example, some illness will come. Prabhupada is 100% a pure devotee. For him also sometimes illness comes. But the illness will not have the expected effect on his body and mind. That is the most important thing. When we are not at a higher consciousness, we are at a lower consciousness. Even small headache will disturb my chanting and my services, etc. Right? So, and in that level, I may be thinking, oh no, this karma is very powerful. But as we go higher with higher consciousness, depending more and more and more, increasing our faith, higher consciousness doesn't mean anything but increasing our faith in Krishna even more deeper. Taking it even deeper, taking our faith even deeper. Do you get my point? So this is where we should see, and that this particular discussion is very helpful because we ourselves see where we are and where we have to go. To the extent where we are keeping the faith in. Are we keeping the faith that time is very powerful? Or are we seeing that karma is very powerful? No. All these are ultimately at the end of the day, so that is why you will see in Bhagavatam, at different places, different ways of approach. This concept will be explained in different ways. But always it will come to the end point of it is everything under the complete control of Krishna. So these statements, when Maharaj points out these statements, he refers to us, come on, this is what ultimately you have to reach to. Right now, you may not have 100% faith. Anybody will question this. We are all just like puppets. Then immediately the question will come that if everybody is puppet, is a criminal also as a puppet, is a judge also a puppet, is a politician also a puppet, is a devotee also. Everybody is a puppet means then what's the point? Where is the free will? Then the same question comes again, isn't it? Do we have free will or not? Correct? So again, this whole thing comes finally to this one point that what is the level of our faith in Krishna's control. How much we are accepting Krishna as the ultimate cause, remote cause, whatever it is. And that's why I thought this particular topic is something which is very important to discuss. We may have to like pause our sequential
Here
reading
I have
of.
got a question.
Yes, sorry, Madhuji.
Here I have got a question.
Uh.
Prabhuji, we talked about Prakriti. If I am in mode of Raja, my karma will be passionate, my destiny will be passionate. So where my consciousness
You
is
won't have
working.
destiny. Destiny is passionate. No, that's not we should understand. Our destiny will be created either way, whichever thing you are in. But that destiny will not have its effect on you
On my mind and body.
if you are at a higher consciousness. Mind, body, actions, everything. Body, mind, words.
Okay.
Right? BMW.
Prabhuji, if I do a mistake, if I am in Tamogun, temporary in part of the day I am in Tamogun, I do a bad karma. According to that, my destiny is there. But when the destiny fructifies, at that time my consciousness is good, so it will not have effect in my body and mind, right?
Correct. So always have good consciousness and there is no problem.
But Prabhuji, there has to be something, no? My actions also are purified, and that's in that way means my prakriti is also purified, my actions are also purified, so my destiny is also good and my consciousness is also good.
Yes.
So that has to be achieved, no? So how can we achieve?
For that only we are trying to do devotional service. That devotional service will purify things. Just like that, karmani nirahati kintu cha bhakti bhaja. All our karmas are all burnt. So we will come to the destiny part one by one. Don't get into it too soon because there is multiple ways to address. Bhagavatam itself has gives us a beautiful understanding of this. And apart from that, there are multiple sections in Mahabharata also, which is a very deep messages are conveyed. Especially Bhishma Dev and Yudhishthira Maharaj and their discussion, Vidura's discussion, etc. So we will have to go through that one by one. But this point understood.
Yes, Prabhuji. Up till now also it is very satisfying. The class up till now is also satisfying because it is clearing many things which are not addressed till now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Knowledge is the best way. Jnanasina. That is a beautiful verse is there about what is that in the second chapter. Jnanasina means the sword of knowledge. It cuts off all our doubts. And when our doubts are cut off, then immediately we become more happy. That way knowledge brings us beautiful satisfaction. What is that shloka? I told you to remember that shloka. Remember 2, 3, 12. Atma prasada utayatra guneshva sangha. Jnanam yadaprati nivrutta guna urmi chakram. This jnana, transcendental jnana of Bhagavatam, what it does, it takes us out of the control of the three modes and then Atma prasada utayatra guneshu asangha. Because we have been detached from the three modes, like you twist and take the two parts of the part away from it. Mechanics will do that. If you see that, the Atma prasada is the complete self-satisfaction. And that self-satisfaction, just now you said the word self-satisfaction, it's very satisfying because the knowledge is getting clear in our mind. I know what is there, right? If I don't know anything about Pune, for example, I will not know which part is from. Suppose you are in Pimple Gurav, and if I have to go to Hinjawadi, I won't know how long it is, how much time it will take, so I will be disturbed. But if I know where is Hinjawadi, where is the peak hours, which way to go, I will not have any problem. 30 minutes I will reach. Then that's fine. I will be more at ease. Correct? So this is how this whole topology we should have to understand. This topography, what is where. Then we will be very, very satisfied. Or we'll be very relaxed actually. Nice. Thank you for that. Any other questions, comments in the meantime? I know some of the points which you had asked may not be discussed immediately in this session, but I would like to, go further with all your interactive questions and thoughts also. Yes, Sarojani Mataji. Then we'll have Chandra
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, madam.
So in the discussion, you said higher, if the person is in higher consciousness, then he will understand everything is in control of Krishna. If they are in lower consciousness, so it means even if we are in lower consciousness, if we try to uplift our consciousness to understand that Krishna is controller, then even if you are in the lower mode, can we overcome that?
Yes, really. See, for example, we are all in lower modes. I'm including me also. Now we are all together discussing. In this 1 hour, we are in higher consciousness, isn't it true? Because we are going through Bhagavatam, and we are Bhagavatam itself is Krishna's incarnation, right? Avatar. So we are in touch with Krishna, sound vibration. And then we are discussing with each one of us who are having the faith. And each of our faith is helping each other increase our faith. Right?
Yes.
So that is how together we are increasing our faith. And that's how now after this, even I will also go back to lower consciousness. So that is why we should never give break to this mind. Somehow or other keep ourselves in devotee association or Shastra association. So we will keep getting pulled back by these powerful associations. Otherwise, you get dragged on and go away. You understand? So the idea is to maintain ourselves in that higher consciousness.
Yes.
Right? So, for example, two people are fighting and they're going to the court for justice, right? The judge would have given, not a corrupted judge, but a noble judge. He is giving certain, a final decision he is giving. These are the thing that I would say. Those who are genuine, they will accept it. But those who are in lower consciousness, they say, no, this judge is partial, he was bribed, etc., right? I'm talking about a noble judge, noble judgment, right? When it happens. So those are the higher consciousness, will accept it. Except, for example, this Ram Mandir ka what is that decision. The same person who was fighting against building that Ram Mandir for decades together, when the ruling came, he accepted it, and he even came for when the invitation was given. That same, I think his name is I don't know, whatever that name, Mazumdar Nazir or whatever his name. That he's from Islamic thing, religion, and he came to the opening festival. You understand? So that is an example of a higher consciousness. You accept it. We may be talking about different things, but at the end of the day, we accept, right?
Okay,
Yes?
one more question, Prabhu. In at least by knowledge, we understand that Krishna is in control of everything. Sometimes when the miseries are so much, even if we understand, still we may undergo some sufferings because of the miseries. We understand that Krishna is the ultimate. Yes, devotees. So while of course I understand that when we are in devotees association, we discuss these points and we are able to understand these points. But in practical application, when it comes, sometimes even if we understand also that suffering is according to their level of their development of consciousness, still it will have that impact, no, Prabhu?
Yes, it will. It will have the impact, yes. But then coming out of it is the biggest test, no?
Yes.
See, Mataji, it's not a big blunder it's not a big blunder to get yourself dirty. But the thing is, how soon you clean yourself, that's the more important thing. As long as we in this world, the dirt will get into us. You'll get dirty when you go out. You come back and again you take a shower and then you're clean, correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
That is how we should see the whole things. You should not think that I should never get dirt at all. Dirt will be there in this consciousness, but it's just touching our body. We are not affected by it. When we clean it off, then you are even more clean. Like that, that beautiful example of that wind is given, wind, air. It just goes through. It just picks up some fragrance from some flower, goes and gives that fragrance somewhere else. And wherever the other fragrance is, it will go and give it somewhere else. And some gutter also, it will pass through, it will get that thing. But again, it will deposit it somewhere and go away. Personally, it will not be affected by it. So when we maintain that kind of a consciousness, then automatically things will be very peaceful and clear and so on. Helps? I think
Yes,
Gaurav Prabhu was raising his hand for a while. Yes, Prabhuji.
Just wanted to share my understanding on this, Prabhuji. What I I think is like by practicing the devotional service, we put ourselves in a position where we have a correct understanding. So in despite of the whatever the results are coming for in our life, so the sattva guna that we have developed, the impact of that problem is reduced. So somewhere, I mean, I think it was Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. He said that life determines its problem and we determine its size. So I mean, the size,
life determines the
life determines its problems and we determines its size. So the size of the problem is as per our consciousness, Prabhuji. So and another thing I wanted to share is like the Tamsu Sikshasva Bharata, that Gita shloka is there, right? So Krishna is telling us not only to tolerate happiness, he's to tolerate distress, but he's also telling us to tolerate happiness as well.
Yes,
so
yes,
I
yes.
mean, over the time, devotee learns that how he needs to react in a particular situation. So that is
very true. Nice point. It's we always think that I'm tolerating my suffering. How much are we thinking that we are tolerating our happiness also? And happiness also very fleeting. It just comes and goes.
yes.
How long it will stay? Beautiful point. Thank you, Gaurav Prabhu.
It is
Any other
very
thoughts?
very easy to make points, Prabhu, but when it real situation comes, so that is our real test, Prabhuji. But yeah, what I've learned is like
I would still say that it is at least we made an attempt. Krishna is not looking at whether you're successful or not. And Krishna is looking at how much sincerely you have been making your attempts. What we are always trained by is that I am always looking at the result, end result, right? That end result may or may not be true, may not be to our satisfaction. But Krishna is satisfied with our effort. That is more than enough.
yes,
That's what we should see almost.
yes, Prabhu.
Meenakshi Mataji raising her hand. Sorry. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. That was pranams.
Yes, Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Prabhuji, so is my understanding correct when we say that Bhagavatam or scripture, Krishna provides me relief, doesn't it means relief can be through the actual solution, or relief can be that I get lessons on how to increase my tolerance, I get lessons on how to forgive or how to forget. Lessons can be through how he increases my remembrance for him.
All these are
different.
all these are side effects, Mataji. The actual relief is when you increase your surrender to Krishna, surrender and faith in Krishna. The effect of that surrender and faith is your increased tolerance, increased acceptance of situation, whatever all those things that you said. Krishna is, what is that faith means? If something is happening, Krishna is only doing it. Krishna is doing it for my good only. There's something that he wants me to improve upon. There's some lesson for me to learn. That faith has to be there first. Only then the lesson will come. You understand?
So increased consciousness or purer consciousness means more and more of surrender.
Yes, that's all.
Okay.
When he says, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam Vraja, there's a completely surrender into me. And the complete surrender is, this never means we are slowly getting there, falling off again, come falling off, like this, whatever, the stock market graph, no, like that. So,
Thank you, Prabhu.
like that every time. So this Krishna keeps lifting us through various ways and means, through experiences, incidents, through devotees, through discussions like this, or through shastras when we refer to certain things. Yeah, as soon as that point came, that's a literally burning question that what Sapnamataji posted in the group. That's why immediately everybody started going through and sharing their thoughts, their further questions or references, etc., isn't it? That is when this thing is sorted out clearly, because we like Subodh Prabhu mentioned, for example, there's still something is in my hand to control.
So
I
that
would
means
wish to see that something is there. I wish to think that something isn't there in my control, he said. Because if everything is left under someone else's control and that person is not under my control, then that's the biggest problem.
so that means when there is complete surrender, uh, what I think now as the karma or destiny and time, they will merge and it will become totally as Krishna.
Yeah. Everything will ultimately merge into this point that finally leading to that point of Krishna, where Krishna is the ultimate. So that's why we keep saying the words Sarva Karana Karanam. The intermediate Karanam may be your karma, your kala, your destiny, whatever, but Sarva Karana Karanam is Krishna.
Correct.
So when devotees, devotees, when they elevate their consciousness slowly to come to that point where Krishna is everything, then we will be able to see things more clearly. It's like from ground also you guys just keep elevating yourself and you will see things more clearly where how things are this is all distributed in this world. No? If you are on the ground, you will not be able to appreciate that so much on the level of the ground. Srividya Mataji is posting some points here. If Krishna is pleased, he can change destiny. For those who serve him with love and devotion, Krishna can change destiny. To sacrifice yajna means pleasing Krishna. No without movement means pleasing Krishna. That is the whole program. Actually, Krishna will change destiny, but only for his devotee. And again, this changing of the destiny, we have to be very clear about it. This changing of the destiny can also mean just changing of the consciousness to accept the destiny. What is really destiny? Suppose I lose some Lakshmi. If I am bothered by it, that is my destiny. If I am not bothered by it, that is how Krishna changes my destiny. He may not give me the money back, but he may give me the consciousness by which I am out of that suffering. You understand? What is more important? Feeling the pain of that losing that money, or the actual money itself. What if that money is giving more troublesome, and if it is not of use to me? That money may be brought back. It may be lying in my locker, but I may be having some health issues, but that I cannot use that money to fix that health issues. Then again, I will be suffering. What is the use of that money? Like that only I will be thinking, correct? So losing the money and getting the money is not like, changing the destiny. Making you not feel that pain is changing the destiny. Does that help, Srividya Mataji? Or others also who, somebody not getting married or somebody not getting a job, if it is a destiny, and if they are not bothered by it, if they are accepting it as as Krishna's arrangement and move on in their life, then there is a change of destiny there. It is not suffering. They are not suffering, or someone is looking at others and they become disturbed by seeing their progress in life. These people will have much more prosperity and wealth and everything than many others who are suffering. But still, these who have the wealth also will be suffering because someone is even more affluent than them materially. So they are not enjoying their own wealth also. They will have like nice palatial building, but someone on the that's why Maharaj used to say someone on the platform in Dharavi, he will be enjoying his life so much, but someone having a big bungalow, he will not be able to enjoy enough. So the enjoyment and suffering is the actual destiny. In other words, how your consciousness is, that is what is the actual suffering or enjoyment. You understand? Losing some material things or getting some material things is not really the. Does it help?
Prabhuji, I got a question.
Yes, Mataji. We'll end with that question because everybody has more space for it.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, we said that karma and destiny ultimately culminates in Krishna. Few sentences back, we said that karma and destiny culminates into Krishna or gets into Krishna.
Ultimately,
So,
they are under his umbrella, basically. That's what it means. Everything is under his umbrella. Just like everything is under the sky. Same way.
So, Prabhuji, if somebody is doing bad thing, that will also come under Krishna.
Yeah, in other words, he is given the opportunity for them to do. No? But Krishna will not take it. He says in Bhagavad Gita very clearly, Na datte kasyachit papam, na bhavu vidyate sataha. He says, I will not take the effects of your sin. I have given you a playground to play. Right? So I have given you that, you can do whatever you want also, but don't expect me to take the effects of your karma. You will have to suffer yourself.
Okay. Got it.
That's very important verse. In the 5th chapter, it is there. You have to be very clear about it. Otherwise, you say everything is controlled by Krishna. Why should I suffer for the sins? Krishna says, no, the sins are yours, not mine.
Yes, Prabhuji.
He's given the guidelines. If you do this, you will go get better life. If you do this, you suffer others, you torture others, and you disturb others. Then you get the reaction. So what you sow, so shall you reap.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So I think we should stop with this. Krishna willing, what I'm thinking is we should do a series on this. How do you feel? Is it worth discussing? And there is a lot of other references also you may have to go through in this particular topic. For the next few weeks, at least 3 or 4 sessions, we'll have to discuss these things in threadbare and then understand the whole thing properly. Does it help? Maybe we'll take a few incidents from Mahabharata and Bhagavatam and all, and we try to understand where it all stands. Sometimes you'll say, why devotees are suffering? And this is again, that comes back to the same point. We are saying that Vritrasura, Chitraketu was suffering in that life also, and Vritrasura life also is suffering. Gajendra is suffering. Indrajimna Maharaj is suffering as Gajendra. Bharat Maharaj is suffering as Jada You will understand all these things from devotee perspective also, from a spiritual platform perception from a spiritual platform also, and perception from a normal, Bautic platform also, how people see it. That will help us very much. It doesn't mean that, they are all not, we don't have to worry about them at all. That kind of insensitivity should not get built in us. That's something which you have to be careful about. When we say that nobody is suffering in this world, that's actual truth. Nobody is suffering in this world. Everybody is suffering, and suffering is itself an imagination. It's just a dream. But our idea should be to get them. It's not that the suffering they are going through in the dream is a suffering. Being in the dream itself is a suffering. So we are trying to get them out of the dream. Do you understand? The dream is the being absorbed in the material consciousness. We are just trying to drag them out of the whole thing and putting them out. Right? Okay, so stop here. So nice of you all. I think you are all just warming up for sharing your points also. But let's see, Krishna willing, we'll all connect together the coming week. And I would say maybe even during the week, we'll have to have a session to, if we give too much gap, then it becomes the thoughts are getting lost. So we should continue on quickly. So let's see if we can have it on Monday or so, and then we will catch up. Okay. I will say exact day when we can do. Hare Krishna. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Koti Vaishnava ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Hare Krishna. Kripa Sindhu Paricha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namaha. Koti Vaishnava ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.